Okay, so here we are, mid-January in Northeast PA, and our temperatures here can get down to the single digits with negative degree wind chills. So you might be wondering, how do I keep my chickens alive in such cold weather? Good question. We're going to cover that next. So let's get down to rednecking this chicken coop. So as I said, mid-January we get some freezing cold weathers. A lot of backyard chicken owners don't know what they should be doing to help keep their flock healthy. So we're going to go over a couple of quick tips that I do. We'll start with water. Water is very important. Obviously, the freezing cold temperatures, their water could freeze overnight, solid as a rock, and they won't be able to drink. What I did do here, I went on Amazon and I got myself a heated dog watering bowl. I do have electricity at the coop, so I have that option. If you don't have electricity near your chicken coop, you will probably have to change out your water daily and go from there. But if you do, heated water bowl, way to go. Fill it up, gallon of water, and it stays unfrozen, and the chickens use it for 2-3 days at a time. Then I just fill it up again. So that's one way. Let me take a look at this really quick. So there we have it, and that just gets plugged in. It's got some metal coil around the wires so the chickens aren't pecking at that. And they are completely safe and happy. And everybody's doing wonderful. All right, so aside from that, now we need to keep them warm. Well, they're just roosting in the coop. I've had a few people ask me that when they got chickens, well, what about keeping them in the coop? Chickens are very hardy. They're very cold hardy. They will survive probably no matter what, as long as it's not down below zero for an overextended period of time. But even if it is, there are ways to help keep them nice and warm and cozy. First thing, make sure your chicken coop is not very drafty. I have some windows in here that are screened up that I open during the summer so that we can air it out. They can get a nice breeze in there. It doesn't get too hot in there. But for the winter, we close it up nice and tight so that the draft isn't coming in there and we can conserve as much heat as possible. The second thing I do, I don't clean out the chicken coop all winter long. Generally, November is probably the last time I'll clean it out. I'll just add fresh bedding on top of it, because wood chips that I'm using for bedding in there now will continue to decompose. That decomposition process will actually generate heat that can be trapped in the chicken coop. So for the bedding, all I'll do is open it up and add a nice fresh layer of bedding over the old stuff, and that way the decomposition can still happen on the bottom. The heat's going to come up into the coop, and we can go from there. They'll stay nice. It'll keep it at probably about 10 degrees warmer than it is outside, just by doing that. And the third thing that I do, I did install a light in the coop. I can come out and check them at night. Makes it nice and easy. B, it's a 60-watt reptile light, a red reptile light. And so the additional light is, because I use a red bulb, isn't going to disturb them and their natural process, because as the days grow shorter, they stop laying eggs. And I like to let my chickens rest for the winter. They don't need to be producing eggs, although some of them do continue to. So let's take a look inside the coop. Hi there, Chickalickins. How we doing? We've got a lot of soiled wood chips in here, which is actually very, very good. That means all of this is going to slowly break down over the winter. We'll just smooth it back out a little. And the great thing about this, come springtime, when the temperatures start getting warmer, and I'm not too worried about the coop getting too cold, I can clean all this right out and take it right up to the garden, and it makes an absolutely fantastic fertilizer. So if you've got chickens and you've got a garden, always remember, all of this bedding can be very useful in the garden. So I do use wood chips and not straw in here, because depending on where you get your straw from, it may have seeds still in it and they may not decompose. And then if you put this in your garden, you're going to have hay growing in your garden. So that's why I use wood chips, to avoid any problems with hay in the garden during the summer. So the last thing I want to take a look at is going to be feed. Because even though this does not generate any heat, they'll survive just fine even if I continue just to give them layer crumbles. But what I like to do is I switch it up for the winter, and I will get the grower crumbles, which, although most people use that and consider that just for baby chickens so they can grow quicker, it actually it's high in protein, which is great for their feathers. The protein helps them develop their feathers faster, so as they molt, they can replace their feathers faster, and their feathers will keep them warm. On top of that, I will also give them plenty of scratch, which is corn and seeds and all sorts of things, which is high in carbohydrates. That carbohydrate can get converted quickly into energy by the chickens, and that will allow them to generate their own heat faster and maintain their internal body temperature better. And lastly, I will sprinkle in a little bit of oyster shell, crushed oyster shell, just because even though they should not be laying, some of them continue to lay during the winter months, and I want them to have that little bit of extra calcium so that they can produce nice, healthy eggs with good shells. So let me just say thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you found this helpful. If you like what you saw, give me a like, click subscribe. Join me as we move on to all sorts of other projects that I hope you're going to be interested in. I don't do this for the money. I just like the opportunity to help out where I can, and hopefully you'll find these videos helpful, and have a good day.